Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today I am continuing to build the greenhouse from last week's video. But if you haven't seen last week's video, go watch it. You'll get to see all of the ideas I scrapped and what I replaced them with. Now onto what I actually built this week. I started by getting rid of the wool grass that I put in replace of the actual grass. I'm pretty sure my thought process when I put that there was that I didn't like the way the muted grass looked against the more vibrant greens of the greenhouse. Even though I liked the darker green of the wool, I didn't exactly think it matched well with the surrounding savanna biome. Even though I liked the way the dark wool looked, it didn't match well, and on top of that, I had other builds surrounding that just incorporated the way the savanna actually looked. I then began to look at the top of the roof to find the center of the room, so that way I could make a flower bed-like pot thing to plant a tree in the center of the room, which would then create the vibe for the rest of the room. And while past me continues to build the tree and the pot for it, I will start to tell you about my future projects and where I plan to actually go with my channel. Now, I have never actually had a consistent posting schedule. Of course, I am still in school and this is more of just a hobby right now, but I would like to turn it into something I do once a week. I am actively trying to post at least one video a week, though not consistently on like Fridays like how Mariah Elizabeth does, but more I could post a video on a Friday and then post a video on the Monday the next week. And I will be making community polls that you all can vote on to decide what the next video is going to be. I actually have one up right now where I can either continue this series, maybe draw something, even do a stream, which I will be trying to do, of course with the fact that I would like to use Twitch and other streaming platforms. It will be difficult, but I will be posting mostly here on YouTube. And while I start to build the second arch on the main building, I would like to also mention the fact that my channel has never had permanent branding and that it has switched up a lot for a while. You guys may have known me as Tired Froggy or Insomniac or even Blue Sweetie when I was doing My Hero Academia stuff on Gacha. But because of Gacha's view right now, especially the entire community, big gacha tubers leaving the community, and stuff like that, I am attempting to branch out from my original roots, though I will still keep doing things gacha related, mostly memes and highly edited things that I prefer to do on my own time, but do post here. Now, I know for a fact that I used to have old videos on this channel that showed my face while I was wearing a mask and or sunglasses. Those videos have since been taken down and privated, but I may do videos like that in the future if you remember them. I remember specifically that I did things like meme reviews and reviewing things that I had bought in stores or things that I just had in my house. Of course, I don't really like doing those types of videos and I prefer to keep my face off the internet. Though, for example, on places like TikTok, my face may be shown, but it isn't exactly covered. Of course, I don't really use TikTok, but it is under the same handle that it is here on YouTube. So if you would like to go find it, please do. I may be someone who doesn't post a lot, but I do try to put actual effort into my content while doing it. Now, I do end up with art block and just gaming block as a general. I remember when I first started building this, it was the first time I had even opened up the server in months. I remember specifically at the time when I had gotten really bad art and just general gacha block. It was at the beginning of this year, and I was trying to post more. That was originally what I was going to do at the beginning of the school year. That is usually how I mark goals and mark what I plan on doing within the next year, and I mark things with school years instead of the actual year because it just makes things easier for me, and it's a way for me to schedule things in my mind as a consistent thing. Now, even though I am going to be trying to post once a week, that does not necessarily mean there will actually be videos once a week. I have a tendency to get art block or get distracted or start making a video and then entirely forget about it or reach a block while editing and not be able to do something, mostly because I am very rusty with this. I remember when I first started out, how I edited my videos was very choppy and kind of sloppy, and as I get older and edit more, I can see myself editing and doing things more smoothly, but that does not mean I am an expert at what I am doing. In fact, if you are someone who is beginning to do videos, I would suggest CapCut because in my experience it has been an easy way to learn and an easy way to get into a community. Specifically, Gotcha I found was pretty easy to edit on this app, and it is how I learned a lot of my skills. Even if you're not part of the Gotcha community, you can really get into editing Gotcha things. Mostly when it comes to making characters walk and green screening things in. It's a great way to learn, and that's how I learned all of my editing skills now. Especially now that I do voiceovers, it is a lot more difficult to get out of that, I'm not quite sure what it's called, but camera anxiety, like that mindset. That's why I don't usually post my face, because then I will end up scrapping an entire video, or as what I've done with past videos is private it. Okay, mid-editing hoodie right here. I just wanted to say, remember that art block and just creative block as a general is very valid, and I experience it all the time. I just wanted to make sure y'all knew that because I forgot to put it as a tidbit earlier because I am quite tired and doing this quite late at night. Though, so now that I'm no longer ignoring the video, I did build a sakura tree in the middle of the build because sakura trees are actually one of my favorite types of trees. I find them very pretty, and there's actually one outside of my elementary school, which gives me quite a big reason to like them. But, this is ironic because I actually have always hated characters named Sakura, even though I like the name. It's funny. But I did add in frog mushroom lights, which I originally thought were sea lanterns when I was making notes for this video, but that I have completely scrapped them. And it sounds insane because I'm doing this at night and am pretty much just telling you guys everything that's going on with this channel, while also trying to keep intact with what I'm actually doing in the build. Anyways, I started doing this thing. I'm pretty sure it's called like a flower pot, not a flower pot, kind of like a small garden. I am at a loss for words. I can't remember the thing and have been doing this one chunk of voiceover for quite some time. But I decided to do a different variety of flowers, a lot of a pink vibe. At the time, I was in like a very, I don't want to say girly because it's not really girly, just a very bubbly mindset while building, because that is generally how my mindset is. It goes from usually like soft pastels, pink, to kind of gothic and emo, which is how I dress as a general. But I did try to do big flowers because, as you have heard in the first episode of this, if you went and watched it, that this was inspired by Mog Swamp, and he did kind of big flowers of it, though he did it all in survival and I did mine in creative. I may build a lot of big outlandish things, and in fact, if you guys would like, I am actually going to try to do a tour of this world, even though I haven't built a lot of it on camera. I do want to show you guys what I have built in this world previously, so that way you all can see and actually help me expand on it. I would like for you guys to help me build more in this world, because while I started it when I was only about 11, I have expanded a lot from that. I would like you guys all to join me in the journey of continuing to expand this world, making new worlds, and just expanding this channel as a general. Anyway, so as you can actually see on screen now that I'm paying attention again, I put glowberries and leaves with flowers, some berry bushes, kind of to create this little corner of if it was taken directly out of the wilderness, and I fenced it off with iron bars because I felt it made it look like it was trying to keep it contained and making sure, for example, if there were children, if this was in the real world, that those children wouldn't be getting pricked by the berry bushes. I wanted it to kind of look overgrown, kind of like this place is old, but at the same time taken care of. I did actually use quite a lot of those flowers and intend to use them more often because I quite enjoy the way they look, and then I added the amethyst crystals. Then I started to clean up areas by the front like gate area, front archway, whichever you prefer to call it, because I decided I was going to put a pond out there, and I really like the way more organic ponds look, and I use TNT to kind of get that look because in creative I find myself doing things less organic, more blocky, and just in general industrial vibes, so the TNT gave me a good start to get me down to the stone and to give me a good kind of organic shape to start with. I kind of used it to replace that weird like flower gate thing, not flower gate, but like, I want to say herb, but that's not right. The bush like fence thing that I created earlier that you saw me get rid of at the beginning of the video. When I started to create the pond, I had the idea to kind of make it look like it was actually from a swamp, but I realized because it's in the savannah, it wouldn't look that realistic, but at the same time, I did give it a kind of more muddy vibe, as if children could have walked over and mixed some water with the dirt. Because I cannot speak. I was going to say sand, but you know, there's no sand in this build. This is probably going to sound familiar, but I personally hate andesite and prefer the more smooth look of the stone. I know a lot of people say that they hate andesite and like the granite in the game, but I prefer the smooth versions, but at the same time it felt odd to have that there because I wanted this to kind of be like a man-made lake, but at the same time it became kind of organic over time with like the species kind of like living in it and changing a little bit. I don't want to say evolved because that takes thousands of years, but more of like they were brought from their original environment and they adapted to their new one. I'm normally not that accurate with that type of things, but I'm kind of a history nut, especially when it comes to evolution and the wacky things with it, so you know, I'm gonna be accurate in the one little thing. Anyways, I added in some more stone and then I started adding in the water. I have a little tip for you guys. If you are filling in a large space with water, for example, a swimming pool in Minecraft, do it layer by layer. It helps quite a bit. I haven't done it in a completely open space, but I have done it in a kind of layered, very large open space. But of course, there were sometimes things in the middle, and the sides weren't entirely flat, they were tiered. But I am starting this thing where I will have a little question for you in the middle of each video. So if you've made it this far, comment down below your favorite weird evolutionary thing. For example, mine are some of the weird like sawtooth fish. They're very interesting. And the Sully monster, I believe that's what it's called, but it is very funny looking and kind of cute. After I finished off filling in the pond, I started to decorate it with lily pads, seagrass, seaweed, and the tall like lily pad things that are on stems. I also made sure to put string on top of them so that way they didn't grow any taller as I was in the world doing other things and building. I then added in some colorful fish to make the pond look more lively and so that way there were actually animals in said pond. I then added in some sea pickles so that way even at night you'll be able to see down into the pond and see all of the colorful fish and decorations. After I finished up with the pond, I went back to the greenhouse to add in more glass to give it more light. I then added like a small like zen garden area off to the side where I put the second archway. I fenced it off kind of like it was a garden type space that was intentionally closed off for people who only work there or specific guests. I also wanted the fence to look like it was built deliberately around the terrain, so I didn't try to alter the mountain / small hill nearby. Then I added in some benches and a table for people to sit at or meditate at, just have a conversation or drink tea. I mean, incredibly metaphorical tea, or you could spill some. Anyways, I wanted the benches to look comfortable and less like park benches that you would see outside that are really old and dirty, and more like very comfortable seating areas that are well taken care of. I made sure that the table was small, but a decent enough size that you could put things on it and sit there and draw, and I made sure that there were plenty of benches, that way plenty of people could actually sit there. Then I added a small sakura tree in a pot, and then I went in and started to add bees and beehives with the tree just to give it a little more lively and kind of make it look like insects and small animals can come in and out freely and live happily in the area. I then added another flower bed and chose to add red things here as well as blue things kind of from the nether for the most part. At least that's where I got the vines from. I wanted this area to look a little more controlled yet intentionally random. Alright guys, that is actually all I have for this video, and I didn't want to end the video without saying bye, but if you guys want me to continue this series and show you guys the end of this greenhouse, then I definitely will. and I will show you, and I will continue to build it in this series, and there will be a whole playlist on my channel to actually watch it on. So I hope you guys have a good day. Go drink water, because you probably haven't drinking some in a while, and just take a nap maybe. Bye guys.